So this is working right now.
I believe so.
All right, cool. We think maybe we're live right now at our inaugural virtual, completely online happy hour here at Blacksburg Wine Lab. Someone give us a shout out of all 2 or 3 of you that are out there participating to let us know if this is working, if you can both hear me and see me in real time. What do we got? And how do people make comments, by the way, Katie?
Yeah, if they're in the chat room, they can make comments. So yeah, we're live. You can see it from my side.
All right, cool. Perfect. Is Amy joining or
No. Amy's hiding in the background.
Nothing to do with this?
No.
Oh, you can take center slot then. Here, and then we'll flank you, and we'll all be socially distanced enough, right?
There you go.
So this may be the first foray into what becomes the future of drinking socially, at least for 2 to 1,000 weeks here in the recent unpleasantness we all find ourselves in. We don't exactly know how to go forward on this. No one really knows what we're supposed to say or do. However, those of us that are passionate about wine and want to support community and want to have some outreach to folks, as we are just now starting what's going to be a more vigilant quarantine era of American life, even here in Virginia. So some of you probably already heard the governor of Virginia came out today and said that all restaurants and bars will be closed as of tomorrow night. Does that sound right? So Tuesday night at midnight is when the closure / quarantining of restaurants, bars, and social areas, social spheres of life fully begin. We all have to assume that's going to go, 2 weeks at a minimum? Probably 1 month. I think a lot of folks are looking at 1 month is going to now be...
April 23rd is the day.
Although they've already picked it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We'll see there. And this is why we have a happy hour. This is a discussion. So we can discuss these current events, but also we can discuss wines, which we're hoping we can do. That even though the quarantine thing is happening in Virginia and eventually will likely happen across the entire United States, we wanted to go ahead and launch these now because we at Blacksburg Wine Lab are listed under essential services. And for you wine fans out there, of course wine is an essential service. So even though we'll be closed for dining starting at midnight tomorrow night, for in-house dining and in-house wining starting tomorrow, we will still be able to deliver any of the foods we have on our menu and deliver wine. Oh, I'm sorry, curbside pickup. And I think Katie looked into the rules, and we're also quite legal in allowing customers 10 at a time to come shop here. Does that sound right? So basically, we're turning from our main mission of being a wine lounge into now becoming a wine retail store with delivery services and food. So
You probably should have all said hi and who you are.
well, I was trying just to do the damn intro, but everybody knows this is how long it takes me to do an intro. So, hi, I'm John Boyer here at Blacksburg Wine Lab. I also have a side gig at Virginia Tech, for some of you that know me.
I'm Jason Hudson. I'm one of the wine guys here, helping John and Katie.
Actually, he's the wine guy now. Luckily, we just picked him up before the recent unpleasantness, so now he's going to be in charge of all the wine. And
I'm Katie Pritchard. I work at Virginia Tech as well with John, teaching his ultra-live classes, and I'm also one of the co-owners here at Blacksburg Wine Lab.
And we're being silly, we haven't even officially launched by all cheersing yet. So, oh wait a minute, we should virtually do this, right? We shouldn't even touch each other. We shouldn't even, we'll just make the sound. Ching! There you go. That's how you cheers in the modern era. So, what do we usually do at happy hours? Right? We just kind of hang out and chat. So, does anybody have a question? Want to start a conversation in the chat room? Is there anybody who wants to start up there? Otherwise, it's just me sitting here spouting, which I could do all night long. Just ask anybody who's ever hung out with me. But we'd like to hear from you all. And we'd like to launch this inaugural happy hour by saying that every time we do this on Monday, we're going to pick a family of wines maybe a wine, maybe a couple of wines, maybe a family of wines to drink amongst ourselves, and also to promote to you all that you can come to Blacksburg Wine Lab or have it delivered. And we now have flight options, takeout and delivery flight options, that you could get samples of all three of these bottles and join us at home in the virtual happy hour drinking the exact same wines. That seems like that'll be kind of the fun angle of this. It's not necessary. Whatever you're drinking, you can join us and tell us what you're drinking and ask questions about that as well, and we'll try to answer them. But we wanted to do the inaugural virtual happy hour by promoting this label called Rabble. We feel it's appropriate as fellow Rabble that we would promote this winery. I think it's hashtag Rabble Wine. And I know on Instagram it was ampersand Rabble Wine. And I just love these guys because their labels are just absolutely gorgeous. And they have this great doomsday quality about them that I felt was appropriate given the level of word. Not so that we make money. I don't care about that. We want to also keep promoting wines of the world in certain wineries that we really believe in during these online virtual happy hours as well. Is that cool? I should stop saying something for a little bit and let you guys jump in, though.
Yeah, just see what everybody else is drinking and following the chat here.
Okay, Katie's following the chat. What's everybody else drinking?
Let's see, Pinot Noir Rosé, Kyle Erickson, which is a student. He joined us on the last night of your office hours.
The office hours last night.
Asking to get on this.
Cool.
Remember Battinelli is here too. Val Thomas, yeah.
Hi, Kimberly. Hi, Val.
Dr. Steve Jacobs.
Hi, Dr. Steve.
So,
I think Terry Lynn said she was tuning in too. I don't know if she's in the chat room, but hi, Terry Lynn.
Yeah. Eric Lynn, Taylor Cup.
And Eric Lynn and Taylor Cup. We know all these people. No one strangers here. This is a true getting together happy hour. Awesome. What do you guys think of, say, these wines, though? Well, we'll show you a little bit more of the labels in a minute, but we could kind of go through now and pretend it's something between a happy hour and a kind of straight-up tasting session that would happen here at Wine Lab or at any of your local wine stores like the Vintage Cellar. So which one of these Rabbles should we start first?
What did you pour?
I poured you the red wine, just their red blend, the Rabble Red Blend, but we also have the Rabble Zinfandel, and we picked this one because these are also wines from Paso Robles, California, and we were featuring the wines of Paso Robles for the month of March before the doom and gloom sat in on the entire country. So we had the Zin already on by the glass, and then since things have turned south, we said, oh, well, let's carry some of their other labels too and do a family promotion on these wines. And this is their Tempranillo, and again, you see all of their labels have this intriguing kind of end of times artwork on them, and all of their labels on the back say, we cannot command nature except by obeying her. Also appropriate.
So the labels, the cool thing about them is they were all made from impressions from woodcuts from 1400s, from the Nuremberg Chronicles. And so they're all depicting famous cities, Florence, Rome, and I can't remember what the third one is, but depicting destruction falling from above.
What you said, the Nuremberg what?
The Nuremberg Chronicles.
What's the Nuremberg Chronicles?
You know, I don't know a whole lot about it. I just know that it was a grouping of artwork, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay.
Probably, and
somebody out there Google that. Tell us what the Nuremberg Chronicles
tell me
are.
how wrong I am.
No. Well, whenever I hear the word Nuremberg, I of course think of the Nuremberg trials after World War II. So I had not heard of the Nuremberg Chronicles. You said Chronicles.
The Chronicles. Right.
And I didn't realize that each of the labels was a certain Italian city. That makes it even cooler. I just thought it was cool because mostly they're scenes of destruction for reasons I don't understand. They're mostly pictures of destruction of churches and temples and religious things. And I'm like, holy cow! What? They're kind of like a Bosch painting, if you know Bosch or Bosch, however you pronounce it. scenes of hell guy. That's what these kind of look like. But
Since you
anyway,
poured the red
Yeah,
for her, we'll start there.
I was just finishing off my kind of funkadelic rosé that we have on tap here. Oh, okay. Mine. I had my bigger glass.
Oh,
Stepping it up.
Okay,
absolutely.
so this is the red blend,
Yep. 2018.
2018 Rabble Red Blend, and it's a blend. So do we remember what's on it?
It's mostly Merlot.
Oh, okay.
And then Cabernet and Petite Syrah. So,
Merlot, Cabernet, Petite Syrah. That's a pretty interesting little lineup for a red blend out of California.
something around like 60% Merlot.
Okay.
So it's got all the notes that you'd expect from that.
So now, unless there's questions from the peanut gallery, which we highly encourage, you'll see that we just default into wine tasting mode. This is what we do. So we actually just stop looking at each other. We're like, okay, what's this? Okay. And everybody just kind of turns away. We'll try to stay more engaged since we're actually here on camera. But this is what a standard wine tasting looks like whenever wine reps come in to talk to us. They'll give us a spiel, usually tell us obviously what country, what region it's from, what grape is in there, if it's a blend, what the blend is. And then at some point, we just stop listening to them and stop talking to them and actually taste the wine. This is why I like this whole label. They're just eminently approachable. I mean, I could just chug the whole glass really quickly.
Yeah.
Which has been known to happen in the last 10 minutes. So what do you get out of this? This is not a wine I would sit and chug a lot of, not because it's not accessible, it is, but to me it has that, not even the pruny, I call it a candy flavor. So there's a candy flavor in a lot of Californian wines that most people love. And I don't dislike, I just don't like a lot of it. It's almost like, it's like birthday cake. It's like icing on birthday cake. I love icing on birthday cake. But I can't eat.
See, I love this.
I know, that's what I'm saying, I like it.
When you said candy, I get a little bit of fig.
Fig?
Some oaky.
I don't get the oak at all. I get a little bit of that fig, but I still get, I call it like a candied apple. It's not prevalent, by the way. It's not the overriding feature in it. Whenever I get that candy apple flavor, it dominates my palate, and so I tend to not drink as much of it.
Right.
A lot of, just for me, this is just for me, a lot of California Pinot Noirs have that candied apple kind of component to it that, again, I don't dislike. But it doesn't do a lot for me. Like the Angelina Pinot Noir we have up there, the people love, to me, it has that candied apple. It's like Pinot Noir with a candy apple on it. And I'm like, yeah, that's okay, but not for me. So that's the flavor I get out of this. But good fruit. It's good fruit all the way through.
Absolutely. That's just nice. Not too tight.
I mean, it just has, there is nothing holding you back on the finish. It just, I'd say it's even perhaps a little bit light on the mid to late palate, but again, that makes it more drinkable.
Yeah.
I think this is like a steak. Also.
Absolutely.
See, and this is the beauty of wine. I totally disagree with Katie. I mean, I usually agree with her for everything. To me, this wine's a little light on the finish for a steak. To me, I need something a little bolder on the finish with a little bit more complexity.
I think a little pepper on the steak.
Absolutely.
Again, this is why we have happy hour. We do this shit all the time, by the way. We've just never done it virtually.
Absolutely.
This is how we talk.
So what do you have going on in chat?
So Claire and Suba coming in from Florida to say hi.
Oh, Claire and Seba, awesome. Hey, how are you guys doing? Congratulations. This is a young couple who graduated last year. They're getting married.
Congratulations.
Yeah. What rosé do we have on tap right now?
It's called Sibonne. Sibonne. I don't know. It's that one from, I think it's Languedoc. Is it Languedoc?
Correct.
And it may even be last year's, which is why they're at a discount on it. It's cheaper priced by the keg because it's old. So, little insider tip for you for wine stores and bars and restaurants. Virtually all whites, but 100% of rosés, they're like bread, meaning you want to drink those as fresh as possible as soon as they're made. And a lot of them will age, but restaurants and bars, they don't like to carry them after a year. Again, it's like having old bread in their mind. So this rosé is quite fine. It's still perfectly in its drinking zone. It's not tasting tired or old. It still has its fruit flavor and that funk. But because it's a year old, they're like, nope, we got to dump them. The new rosés are coming in. And actually, this is the time of year that new wines are coming in from Europe, the 2019 vintages. Right? The 2019 whites and rosés are just now being released. So it's just like new car models. We got to get the old rosés off the lot. The new rosés are coming in. So I still like that rosé quite a bit. But it's time for it to go. All of the distributors, and you might see these on sale at Kroger or Walmart or anywhere else, where everybody's now slashing prices on 2018, 2019 rosés and whites. Sorry, did I make you laugh too much?
No, my wife is eating my charcuterie board over there. So I went and stole some speck because I thought it would go really nicely with this, and I'm going to find out if it does.
So Kimberly was asking if we've had these Calera Pinot Noir.
No, we've had those in half bottles. The Calera, we had the Calera. Is it a Pinot or a? Yeah, we've had those in half bottles before. And they sold pretty good. We might have them on the shelf right this second, actually.
I don't believe we did. I can look.
Go take a look and get another piece of charcuterie.
Yes, sir.
Now I know. I'm positive we've carried that brand. I'm positive we have it in half bottle. If we have it in half, it means we can get it in a full. But we just don't think we've ever carried it in full. We have been killing half bottles, by the way, people. I always knew it. I knew if we just had a really great selection of half bottles, it would encourage people to experiment more. So the great thing about half bottles, people look at them like, oh, well, that's not a good price, is it? They're actually priced per unit volume, usually identical to big bottles. Do you have some?
We do.
Well, we used to. No, I'm positive we used to have some. Anyway, I like the half bottles because, yeah, maybe it cost $1 more than if you got 2 half bottles in a full bottle. But you get to experiment more. So instead of dedicating to a full bottle of wine that you haven't had before, a half bottle's like, well, that's not much of a gamble. That's just 2 big glasses of wine in a half bottle. I'll roll the dice on something I've not had before in a half bottle.
Evermore drink wine in tiny glass. James Bell, so he's going to use the glass.
Oh, Jim Bell's in the house, and he likes our tiny. Oh, we should probably. No, we have some. Yeah, we have. For you uninitiated, we got these just 2 days ago. So these are our take-home flights. And each one of these is probably. This is a big glass, but it probably is about that much. It's 3 ounces. It's a solid pour of wine, and so since we won't be able to serve the public flights, which has been one of our more popular features since we opened the bar, we quickly got online and found some great little bottles, glass. All right, more sanitary. We can boil these things like baby bottles, so they won't have any germs on them by the time they get to you, and we can reuse them. We're all about recycling too, so we're doing old school economics on these, and we're charging a deposit on them just like you used to do with Coca-Cola bottles back in the day. So you pay a deposit, but if you bring them back, you get your deposit back, or you just cash them back in for a new round and a new flight.
That's the smart play.
Yeah. I'm just trying to save the world. I'm just trying to stay green, for God's sakes. Oh, anyway, anything else about this wine? Your glass is empty, my glass is not empty.
That's okay.
Not that we're in any rush, but we can taste through the other ones that I actually like more. I think, I don't know, I'm torn because I think I did the Tempranillo before the Zen last time, and I thought maybe the Zen, believe it or not, seemed a little lighter than maybe that Tempranillo. But it's up to you guys, whatever you think.
I'd agree with that. I think it's a little lighter as well.
Let's move to the Zen. Oh, wait a minute. Social distancing.
Arms length.
Arm's length. An arm's length, that's 6 feet, right? Is that plus or minus? I know we should. Maybe some people would take offense to joke about these things. However, I am more than willing. I have broad shoulders. I'm more than willing to take my share of social shaming. Should it come to that, it's fine with me.
I really love the glasses.
Because here's why I'm more than willing to do a social shaming, because all of us have been together every single day for the last 2 weeks. So we're already all in. We're already quarantined together. It doesn't matter at this point.
Think of worse places to be quarantined.
Yeah, that's right.
At least we have supplies.
We will definitely, if things get really catastrophic, Blacksburg Wine Lab will convert into a bomb shelter with a lot of wine in it. And there will be a select few that are invited. You're all here in the room right now.
So someone's asking, would they recommend quarantine wine and drinking with your cats?
It depends.
I got a good one. You go ahead.
What is the cat male or female? Is the cat black or white? Because it really depends, because, when I pet a white cat, I typically like to stick to the lighter wines, maybe, a Viognier. A black cat, I want to go something a little deeper, like this Zinfandel, perhaps.
So for those of you that missed the question was a wine recommendation to drink with your cat. It's under quarantine, right?
Yes.
Okay. So do you have a recommendation?
I would say bubbles for everything.
Bubbles, just champagne.
Can't go wrong with bubbles.
All right. Well, I couldn't
Very
resist.
diplomatic of you.
I couldn't resist. I have the perfect pairing to drink with a cat.
Are you saying like an equal?
No. No. See, I usually say that. Katie just suggested was the user asking for a pairing with a cat as a meal? Come on. But actually, my pairing works for that too. I say if you're drinking with your cat under quarantine, New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc. Because one of the main descriptors of New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc is cat pee.
All right.
And here's my logic. Because if you and the cat get a little tipsy and one or both of you have an accident, if the cat doesn't make it to the litter box or you spill the wine, it's going to smell the same either way.
Either way. Well played.
Right. And the cat can just blame you for spilling the wine.
Cats blame you for everything. All they do is judge. All they do is judge.
And as fate would have it, I just got a wicked good deal on a really good New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc. I'm going to go get it. The Whitehaven.
Oh, yeah.
The Whitehaven half bottles.
Actually, Terry Lynn's in here, doesn't she?
Yeah, I know Terry Lynn's drinking that Whitehaven. I sold it here. That's what's awesome.
What else do we have?
Folks are asking what the wine could be for next week.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what would you like to see? Would you like to see, what we call a horizontal flight or a vertical flight? We want to talk about 3 different Marlowes, 3 different Zinfandels, or do we want to do the same thing we're doing here, where we pick a company and we talk about a select program? What do you want to see? This is all about you guys.
Maybe weekly, and then you drink it on our own, or something like that, where it's all
Absolutely.
with the same varietal place.
Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll take a look at all the comments that we get, and we'll decide what we want to do. But what the majority wants to do, we'll post that out within a day or two, and that we've got some time to prepare. And we'll be back next week to do it all over again. Yeah.
So does Monday nights work for you all?
Hey, look, we have friends. Oh, the babies.
Yeah, does this time work for people? We could do Sunday, Wine Wednesday.
Yeah.
We all kind of have a lot of time in our hands now, hanging out at home. So.
We'll definitely have a little bit of free time. So we'll just kind of take this. We did some things. So again, we are looking at the Zinfandel. This one is 2017. Again, Rattle Wines from Paso Robles. Also,
sorry, Toy just blocked your
I don't know if we mentioned this earlier about the app. If you ever do pick up this wine, on the backside they've got little instructions on how to download their app from the iStore or whatever the droid store is called.
Come on in.
They do this little augmented reality with the labels. It's pretty slick. But the baby is much more interesting than me.
Yeah, we just wanted to cheer everybody up by showing you a baby. I mean, right? Look at that baby. I'll put that baby back over here. This baby cheers everybody up. When anybody gets a little too worried that life's getting a little too heavy right now, just look at a baby. This baby is magical. It's asymptomatic as well. She's asymptomatic. I should say it's asymptomatic. Thanks, Al. Oh yeah, I just wanted to, before we get to that one, this Whitehaven Sauvignon Blanc we just got in. It's a halfy bottle. If you really want to know when people stylistically talk about the New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, this is a really good one. It's the recent vintage too. I don't know why we're getting a special deal on it, but it's pretty special. Anyway, I don't. This is a happy hour. I'm not intentionally trying to like hawk products and be like, hey, buy shit. But this is what we do when we talk about wine. We're like, oh yeah, this wine. Oh yeah, this one's really good. This is kind of a good one. So you guys have already talked about the tempered Zin.
The Zen. We started two, and then baby invasion came.
Baby.
And it was necessary to just let the baby take some space. It's got to make continues glass.
For those, probably for at least 3 or 4 of you who are in the chat room right now or watching this, because I know who you are personally, remember when baby bottles used to be glass? I was right on the transition of that. So 30 years ago, almost 30 years ago, when I had my first child, or I should say my wife did, we debated about having glass bottles because they were kind of on their way out because you used to have to boil them. There was a huge pain in the ass. Well, we got some visitors here from some other folks joining in on the happy hour. What's up, brother?
Hello. The lovely lady at the register was curious what the price of this was going to be.
Oh, take 25% off of that, if you don't mind. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, night.
Those are some students in the wine class, and they just finished reading the chapter on Pinot Noir. And that chapter talks about the distinctions between Burgundy Pinot Noir and New World Pinot Noir. And so they wanted to try side by side. So I gave them that. They were like, what's the most affordable real Burgundy? And that one's like the only one we have. All the rest of them are really expensive. And they're students, so I'm like, oh, just give them another 25% off. So I didn't see what they picked to do. Oh, no, to compare New World compare. They might be doing one at a time, but they were going to compare.
Okay, so.
Oh, yeah, I'm
They got
sorry.
fiction.
Oh, in the fiction. Although that's not Pinot Noir, but that's
No,
good.
that's one of the
good.
5 bottles that's sitting up there. So good for them. Yeah, that's a
Damn
good
it,
bottle.
that's a good bottle. Okay, where were we at? See, this is like a happy hour, right?
We're already
Because I'm already tipsy and discombobulated. What the hell are we doing here?
We're looking at the Zinfandel right now.
You guys take over. I need a break.
Exactly.
I like all of them. I know you don't like this one. I like all of them. Smooth and easy.
I don't disagree.
These other guys love maybe.
So you guys already pointed out it's 100% Pinot Noir on this one.
No.
Zinfandel.
I'm sorry, Zinfandel.
Yep.
Zinfandel. Pinot Noir on the brain.
Yeah, it's 100%. Again, coming from they're about 6 miles away from the other one, where they got most of the other grapes from. What was the label on this one as far as the destruction?
Tornado.
That was the,
What city is it? Milan?
I believe this is Florence. This is this is the typhoon where the tornado coming down on Florence.
A tornado that's tearing off 4 church steeples.
Even everything else pretty much untouched.
Well,
It's a nice touch.
it is crushing something in the middle. Maybe that's another church. I don't know. It actually looks like the destruction of the giant church in Game of Thrones. Remember when Cersei destroys an entire church?
There you go.
Actually, I think that's exactly what's going on here. Look at that, my friends, for those of you Game of Thrones fans. So you can see there, right over here, this church is getting taken out, but I think this is the one Cersei exploded from the underground glowing green Gatorade explosive powder they had.
It's perfect. I did see a question here. Can we get Rebel wines in the state of Maryland? I don't know if the distributors can. I know they deliver to a lot of different states.
I would think so.
Is Maryland an ABC state?
This is a pretty
Or are they state run? I don't know. If they're not state run, then you can definitely get it through. Yeah.
This is Breakthrough Beverage. My guess would be yes. Breakthrough Beverage is a pretty big distributor, and they mostly distribute in grocery stores and stuff. So we actually don't carry a lot of their products because we try not to carry the wines that are carried in like Walmart or Sam's or Kroger, only because they can sell it for so much cheaper than we can. So we try to stay away from grocery store wines. But Breakthrough is a big provider of those, and Breakthrough is the one that carries the whole entire Rabble line. So my instincts are that, yeah, you can probably get it in Maryland.
Absolutely.
Just go to your local wine store and say, hey, have you ever heard of Rabbles? They can track it down pretty quickly. That's the beauty of the modern age. We can pretty much get anything, anywhere, all the time, including viruses now. So there's that. You got to take the bad with the good. Anyway, this Zen, I like the Zen more than the Red Blend. To me, this is more unctuous. To me, it's heavier on the palate.
Absolutely.
I get more, literally, it feels heavier on my palate, and it's got more dark fruits going on.
Got a longer finish on it. It's not as tight as the Red Blend was. It's just bigger. Everything about it.
This is the first one that we tried from Rabble. We got it from we had some other places from, and then we're like, okay, we have to try it.
We got to try this.
Yeah, I think we all were enamored pretty quickly with the label. And between what's in the bottle and what's on the outside, we were kind of very intrigued to try the remainder of the
Yeah.
They do a number of whites as well. They do. No.
Oh, he just doesn't have them in stock.
But those of you that don't live in the ABC state, you can order them online, and you can let us know how good they are, even though we can have
I was really curious about the rosé as well.
I'm moving on because I actually like the Tempranillo most.
Someone asked me a question.
Question.
Kimberly is asking about the difference between Burgundy Pinot Noir and New World Pinot Noir. Fundamental difference.
Oh, yeah. Well, I do have about an hour and a half lecture on that exact question I can launch into. There's also a book chapter I wrote on as well. But the quick answer, I'll provide a quick answer and everybody else can chime in. Old World Pinot is more earth-focused. New World Pinot is more fruit-focused. So a standard Burgundy, any red wine from Burgundy is a Pinot Noir. I know, many of you in the chat room were like, of course it is. We know that. Many humans don't. So every Burgundy wine you've had from France is Pinot Noir, if it's red. And they typically have an undercurrent, if not a highlight, of earthy, mushroomy, barnyardy, and usually a high acidic component as well when they're young, which softens over time. New World, and fruit too, but fruit is secondary. So in a Old World Burgundy, you get hints of cherry and raspberry or other things, but they're secondary. New World Pinot Noir, you flip it. And actually, for many New World Pinot Noirs, you flip it and get rid of the earth altogether. So, to me, a lot of California Pinot Noir is very fruit forward. All you get is fruit. You get those great hints of cherry or raspberry or other deeper red fruits, usually the lighter ones. And the ones that are well crafted, and then you get an undertone, perhaps, of some earth and mushroom and musky, and tobacco. That's another big one for Burgundy, is a little tobacco. And the ones that I love the most in the New World are Oregonian Pinot Noirs. I love Oregon Pinot Noirs because I feel like that they're right in the middle. So Oregon just perfectly has this great, luscious fruit-forward component, but then the earth is right underneath that. The best ones are, anyway.
No, I agree. I think even if you have a New World Pinot Noir and it's amped up in alcohol, it still just falls very thin in comparison to something from Burgundy. Just that's the biggest thing beyond the flip of major flavor components is just that the body is always just very, very thin. It just disappears.
I feel like New World has sometimes a heavy hand on the New
Yeah.
World. The other one, especially that.
Yeah, well, that's true of all. You start to step back from that specific question about Pinot Noir and just broaden the question to what's the difference between Old World wines and New World wines. Old World wines, in general, and this is a great generalization that doesn't really apply as much as it used to, but Old World wines typically are much more integrated, so they want to express the place. So Chianti is a wine you've all had. Chianti uses a bunch of different grapes, mostly Sangiovese. But they're not trying to make a wine called Sangiovese. They're trying to make a wine that expresses what Chianti is all about. So it has fruit components in it, but it also has earthy components. And it's the history and the culture and the way they do things and the way they barrel age things that makes all Chiantis kind of taste the same, or at least in the same spectrum. And the difference between that and the New World is the New World, we don't care so much about the region, even though we're drinking Paso Robles wines. That actually doesn't really mean that much. Drinking all these Paso Robles wines means these are just wines from a place called Paso Robles. But saying Paso Robles is not the same as saying Chianti. Does that make sense? And when I say Chianti, it's a place, and you kind of know the wine they make. If I say Paso Robles, you're like, well, that's a place. And what kind of wines do they make? Because New World wines are all about the individual winemaker. They express what they want to express in the wine. And typically in New World wines, they express a lot of fruit, or they express a lot of oak, or they express a lot of something that makes it big and meaty or crazy, or even white wines can be, almost excessive because we're America, damn it, and whatever you do, we do it bigger and better. You got coronavirus, we got more coronavirus than you.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but that's kind of the big difference between Old World and New World. And again, I'm couching this in that the disclaimer is that was definitely the way I used to teach it 20 years ago, because it was 100% definitely true almost all the time. But in the last 20 years, so much has exploded in the wine world. So many different places are doing so many different things. So now a lot of European countries and European regions are trying to do crazy, excessive stuff like the Californians or the Australians. And at the same time, a lot of Oregonians and Australians are trying to produce more classic, old-school European wines. So even though these generalizations we're talking about still kind of apply, there's more and more exceptions keep cropping up. Sorry I talk so much. I lecture for a living. That's what I
That's
do.
an hour and a half.
I know.
You did well. You did well.
I try to reel myself in after an hour.
Someone else asking wine recommendations for pizza.
Oh.
Jim?
Okay. I guess again, what are we eating? Are we eating ham and pineapple? Which don't do that.
Oh, come on
I'm
now.
kidding.
Come on. No, it's okay. This is happy hour.
Absolutely.
You can disagree.
A good vegetarian pizza, I think you could eat just about anything with it. But if you got a red sauce, I think you can even go with any kind of the Riesling goes well with pizza, both meat and
I've never tried that. A Riesling with pizza.
I love it.
Okay.
I love it, especially if you get some good spicy Italian sauces on there. It's
Oh, I can
perfect.
see that. Something that's hot, spicy. Anymore, I wonder, someone should do an experiment with pretty much any pizza. I wonder what red wine won't work with it. I mean,
So I gotta grab our pizza one that we just had for last night.
okay, for 2 nights in a row, we've gotten out of here so late, we've had pizza for 2 nights. Homemade though, don't judge. And of course, we have access to all the charcuterie cheese that we carry here, so
Yeah, definitely.
we can super thin slice true pepperoni, super thin slice bresaola, and put it on a pizza. Damn if that's not good.
This is my jealous face.
And then we pick a wine to go with it, because these are hard times and we need to treat ourselves every single night. So what have we been drinking with pizza, Katie?
Polizano, Pinot Noble, de Montepulciano.
Show it to me. A Montepulciano. Oh yeah, well the light's not so good now, so maybe back
Oh,
here.
yeah.
I'm looking where the light is.
And to see it?
Yeah, kind of. Oh, actually, we could just do this too.
Type it
It's all about getting back underneath the light. So, yeah, she'll type it in, but it's a Vino Nobile di Montepulciano, which is a great word to learn how to pronounce, just because it makes you sound really Italian and smart. But pretty much, Montepulcianos, we've had one on tap here since we opened the doors, and they can be really light, easy, refreshing. This one is from a heavier hitter. So this is a 2016. It's a 4-year-old one that's just great. It's kind of a cross between a really good Brunello and a really good Barolo. It just has really good, intense flavors. It's not super expensive. And really any Italian, this gets back to my theory that really any Italian red is probably going to work with a pizza. I'm hard-pressed to think what, this is a fun game, what red wine doesn't work with pizza? That's why I was fishing at that. That's a question. Okay, what red wine does not work with pizza?
Sweet.
Oh, what is the
Sweet Virginia red
Oh,
wine.
is there always the really sweet one from Chateau Morissette?
Oh, our dog blue or hell,
That's probably what
Yeah, I don't see sweet.
Sweet Mountain Laurel or something like
There
that.
it is. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah, there you go. See, this is what happy hour is all about. Yeah, sweets would be hard. All right, but that's too easy now.
Or
Right?
you could pair a sweet wine with like a chocolate pizza.
Oh, there's no such thing as chocolate pizza. That's
Dessert
bullshit.
pizza. That's stretching
There's
everything beyond.
No,
Call it a day that should be done with your life.
There's no such thing as dessert pizza. That was like something Olive Garden or somebody invented. Or probably Cheesecake Factory or some godforsaken other thing that should be plagued.
Indeed.
But what other red wine? I'm trying to think. I think maybe super oaky wines maybe would be a challenge for
Yeah.
pizza.
So it's like California Sin, Amarone.
Yeah, and see, that good. Who said that? That's a good one.
Terry.
Terry Lynn. Good call, Terry Lynn.
Nice.
And I think that's because for us, people who love Amarone say they're totally dry. And they are actually dry red wines. But to most of us, at least some of us, they seem sweet. They actually are dry, but they're so stewed. They have such stewy, pruny fruit flavors that they seem sweet. You're right. I would not do an Amarone with a pizza.
Good call.
Man, that is a good one.
I thought it was Tempranillo.
It's a Terry.
Tempranillo.
Oh, and Tempranillo is any Spanish wine. Oh, Rioja. I love Rioja with pizza.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I stole some hot Sopressata off my tray.
Sopressata.
It
Yeah.
goes very well with this. Speaking of Spain, the label, this is a big tidal wave crushing into the coast of Spain.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So, again, very fun labels. They're amazing. They're lighthearted but dark, and I love it. Absolutely.
I wonder if you want to show the label.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's assess the Tempranillo.
Yeah.
Put our game faces on. Our happy hour, virtual happy hour game faces on.
So how common is Tempranillo being grown in California? I mean, I know we get a lot of Tempranillo coming out of Spain, but is there a large amount being grown?
I wouldn't call it large.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially 100%. I mean, it's not a blend on it whatsoever, so it was a shocking thing to see a wine this good.
No, and that's why I always get attracted to those oddball things like that. Tempranillo, for those not in the know, is one of the classic grapes of Spain. It's almost overwhelmingly a Spanish thing, meaning that you can get a Tempranillo from anywhere in the world, maybe, but not that many places grow it. And Spain probably still easily grows 90% of the Tempranillo wines produced on planet Earth. And Tempranillo is the grape that goes into classic, and sometimes very expensive wines like Rioja, like Ribera del Duero. That's all Tempranillo.
You make that sound good.
I know.
You make that sound good.
I make things sound good and look good when I'm drinking them.
Only
No, not at all.
942 acres.
in all of California,
All of California.
less than 1,000 acres. That sounds about
Fact
right.
check, Katie.
Yeah, that
Coming to
sounds
the rescue. Thank you. That is not a lot of area.
No, and people are experimenting more, especially in California or Australia. There's somebody growing everything. There's, some bizarro Greek grape you've never heard of. Somebody in California is trying to grow it.
Right.
But Tempranillo to me is still predominantly a Spanish phenomenon. That's
Right.
what I stick to.
And I feel like this is different than your typical Spanish Tempranillo. I mean, by far. It doesn't have quite the bite that I would put into a steak from Spain. The fruit's a little rounder, softer. But all that being said, I love it.
I
think
like
it's phenomenal.
it's my favorite of three.
It's a
And
lighter finish.
it has a light. I think it's unique in these wines in that it has a seemingly lighter body but a heavier finish. Or actually, it's a longer finish, and that's what I
I think it
like.
has more acidity than the other finish. To me, it pops a little bit more.
Well, I think that maybe it's because I have an older palate, maybe because I like Tempranillo, but I like this one the best of the three because it has some herbal elements that I'm not getting. So the other two, they're good, they're great wines, but like I said, the kind of candied apple, the kind of fruit forward, which is fine, and a lot of Americans really love that first and foremost. This one has almost an undertone of a eucalyptus, or I don't know, it has an undefined herbalness to it that's not even typical for most Spanish Tempranillos, I think. But I like this because I like what's going on.
No, it's a great one. I think of the three, it might be my favorite as well. But that red blend, though. Don't sleep on the red blend.
Show one of the labels.
Okay. Oh yeah. We're gonna.
Yeah.
We'll try it. I think the light won't affect it because your phone will light up itself. So check this out. I've never seen this before. Well, no, because I got to put the box here. So I've been around the block, my friends, and I've seen chintzy new cool things, and I'm old enough to usually kind of disdain them. What happened?
I started playing because I was like not playing.
Oh, it was already happening? But I've never seen anything like this. This is a great, it's all marketing. It's just, it's bells and whistles, as we say, as us old schoolers say. It's just for show and it's just for fun. But it is so super cool. We wanted to show it to you. I've not seen any other winery do this. Watch what happens when you download the app. It's just called the Rabble app.
Rabble wine.
You download the Rabble Wine app, and I'm just putting this box up here so I can hold the bottle still. Which one has the meteors on it? This one? Okay, so wait for this. So here's the label, which we've shown you now a couple different times. And if you download the app on your phone, right, and then you put the phone up to the label, watch what happens.
You totally got that to work. That's amazing.
Keep watching. Oh my God, it's like post-apocalyptic. That is crazy.
Yeah, that's a
No, we can. Well, ask in the chat, so we'll ask you all in the happy hour. Do you want to see one more label? We don't know the quality of what that looked like for you guys.
It was cool.
Well, we'll ask you, would you like to see one more before we wrap up our first virtual happy hour from Blacksburg Wine Lab?
It's just a fun thing.
It's just hilarious. Actually, their website's super cool, too. Their website's super animated and has crazy stuff pop up, and they're really good about giving you a lot of information about the wines.
One of their catchphrases, and again, all about the destruction, is that nature is ruthless when it is ignored. Which I guess we're all feeling these days a little bit as well.
Wow.
So our grim wine for grim times.
Grim wines for grim times, yeah.
But
Not that one.
Oh, I just pouring more. Oh,
Yeah,
does anybody want
Yes.
want another one? Okay, here we go.
That one doesn't work.
That one's not done.
That one,
They're
for
not
some
done
reason-
yet.
Yeah.
So we're going back to the Zinfandel.
I'll get out of the way.
Here's what the Zen looks like, and then see what happens.
Turn over
There you go.
Florence.
It even has sound.
It does. I didn't realize it had sound.
Oh There's like screaming. Is that like the Wicked Witch of the West riding by? What the hell? Holy crap.
Yeah.
Damn.
We have a hashtag Rebel Wines Kick Ass over here.
There you go. We thought that would be a fun way to launch our first happy hour.
Absolutely.
I mean, are we over now? Are we under now? Are we okay?
7:52.
52.
Yeah,
We have
yeah.
8 more minutes.
Yeah. Again, I will always just keep talking about anything, but I prefer fielding questions or letting other people smarter than me talk. Because just because you're a good talker doesn't mean you're the smartest person in the room, and that almost always applies to me.
I mean, it might be a good time to reiterate. We're going to be doing this every week, even during the restaurant shutdown. Not only for gives us something to do, something to look forward to, and it's outreach to the community, making sure that we stay connected with us either via the chat or comments on the page or emails, whatever you need. Send us in ideas for what you want to see in the coming weeks.
Yeah.
We'll try to get all the information out to you within about 4 or 5 days prior to us doing another happy hour. And that way, if you want to join in on what we're drinking, you can drink with us, and we can all have a good time at the same time.
Damn, Jason, that sounded good. I think this guy worked on the Food Network or something before we picked him up.
I need my tips for next week. Getting that tattoo and some wristbands.
Maybe Guy Ferrari will come visit us. Or what's the other dude? Kitchen Nightmares guy. Or
Little Gordon Ramsay.
Gordon Ramsay, yeah. The guy, he'll come save us. That guy's going to be busy with his new show, Saving American Restaurants and Bars.
All of them.
From Corona.
Yeah, all of them.
But they can walk in and be like, your walk-in cooler sucks. That's why you got Corona.
Okay.
But
yeah,
everyone that joined us tonight, thank you very much.
Yeah.
John, Katie.
Oh yeah. Ching.
Ching.
I think we just invented the future on that.
We did. Copyright. Put a little trademark symbol right here for us, Katie, and post. Thanks.
I'm trying to think what other ways we can pick the next lineup. I kind of like the idea of featuring families of wines, just
doing horizontals.
Yeah,
like
to
that
see what a certain company can do, and instead of just picking 3 random ones from around the world, which is fine too. I mean, it's up to you all, and I would prefer that it comes from you all, the folks who will actually tune in. Would you like us to do 3 wines from a certain winery, or 3 wines from a certain region? And that way we can talk about the region, or 3 different wines made from the same grape. We're actually getting ready to launch Wine Lab TV. Will soon be launching later this week, and the first show we're going to do, which will be a series, but the first show of the first series will be coming up in the next few days, and I'm calling it One Grape 3 Ways. And we'll pick one type of, one grape species like Merlot or Chardonnay, Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, or Viognier, and then picking 3 different wines, Viogniers from 3 different parts of the planet who are making that grape into a singular wine, and then talking about the differences between these wines. Because to me, that gets at the heart of terroir, that you can take you can take Zinfandel and grow it in 20 different countries, and it will taste like 20 different wines. Even if they try to make it the same, it will taste like 20 different wines. To me, that's always the fun and beauty of wine.
It's like going back to the Pinot Noir earlier. It's just another way that we can kind of demystify all the wine.
Yeah.
Wine is fun. Wine is easy. Wine does not have to be complicated.
No, it's this. It's what we're doing right now.
It's all worth
Wine is life. It's society. It's getting together. It's sharing. It's everything. So
I believe we're doing Grenache as our first grape.
Time waits for no one is one. Chatter is probably going to be on Trail. And Hecula was going to be the other one I got, but that's still not back in stock. But what was the other Grenache I was just talking about today from Spain that you were ordering? Oh my God, also Moncoya. But there was something else too. I was like, oh, I forgot that's another great Grenache I love, but I think I was on Moncoya.
I know we're pulling one from Australia.
That one right there, the Clarendon Hills from Australia.
We've got some good grapes coming up. It'll be a lot of fun. Again, we're looking for you guys to kind of take the lead on telling us what it is that you want to do. We are always down to do anything, as long as it involves wine and food and a little bit of a little fellowship.
Fellowship, conversation.
Absolutely.
The fellowship of the ring. I mean, of the wine.
The wine.
Fellowship of the bottle.
We'll probably get a lot more followers than we did today. At least we hope so.
All right, cool. Well,
Cheers, everybody.
again, it was a happy hour. We can talk about other stuff besides wine, too. So in the future, we could just talk about the depressing state the world is
Let's
in.
not do that. Let's talk about wine.
Maybe we start with wine and we move from there. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, folks.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Enjoy your night. Everyone say hi to my wife in the back. Hi, Amy. There she is, hiding. All right. Good night, all.
Party on.